like not supposed to be named this,
Right,
right?
right.
It's not supposed to be named
It's misleading.
polycystic ovarian syndrome because it's actually a hormonal endocrine disorder. So you're talking like head to toe, literally. At any given time, my cysts could be there or they could not be there. Other people, same thing.
What's up, ladies? Welcome to the health class She Deserves, the show where we ditch outdated women's health myths and talk real bodies, real cycles, and real stories. I'm your host, Autumn Paone, and today we are joined by Megan-Marie Stewart, an impact-driven advocate, entrepreneur, and the founder and executive director of the PCOS Awareness Association, one of the largest nonprofits in the world dedicated to polycystic ovarian syndrome, education, advocacy, and support. Megan's work is deeply personal. After years of symptoms, delayed diagnosis, and navigating PCOS alongside multiple battles with cervical cancer, she turned her life experience into mission, shortening the diagnostic delay, improving provider education, and helping women trust their bodies and advocate for better care. Megan, welcome to class.
Thank you, Autumn. I'm excited to be here.
And I'm excited to have you. So let's just start at the beginning. How did your journey with PCOS begin?
So, as you kind of stated in my intro, like years, we're talking years. From ages 9 to 16, I was having all sorts of symptoms that my family could not, mostly my mother, could not figure out what was wrong with me. She was just like, "What is happening?" From extensive mood swings, pelvic pain, um, weight gain, hair loss on the head, hair growth on the face. I had never had my first menstrual cycle. So it was very much like something was wrong and she just couldn't figure it out. So I personally just remember her taking me from medical professional to more medical professionals, right? Trying to figure out what's going on with her babies. And some of the things that she was told was one was that I just needed to lose weight and I would be fine. Another was that like this is just puberty. This is just what she's gonna have to go through. Welcome to womanhood. And then ultimate one, my mom was also told that it was in my head and that I was faking things just to get out of school. And it was that one that she was like, no, something is wrong. I often tell the story of I had learned just recently within the last like 5, 6 years that she actually, when she heard that, she gave me a placebo pill. She said she had to figure out if I was faking it or not. And so she had given me a placebo pill and told me that it was like the cure, the end all be all to all the things that was happening with me and that I should be fine after taking this pill. She says that maybe the first week or two, she thought she was right there with the doctor, like, right, she's doing better. Like there's something's not right here. But she said that at least after the second week, the symptoms came back in tenfold, right? They came back and I was complaining about things. I was very irritable, moody. And it was then that she was like, no, something is off. Again, going to more doctors, trying to figure out things. I remember she had me at like a naturopath doctor. She had me all over the place. But then finally she was told that there was a new OBGYN in the area and maybe I should try her out. Tried her out, and this was this time it was age 16, and I still hadn't had my first period. So tried her out, and she was like, "Oh, well," she didn't even really like run tests. I remember she ran tests, but I just remember her coming into the room and being like, "Well, all of your other charts and everything, it just seems like you have PCOS." And of course, mom and I were like, "Huh? What's that? What's PCOS?" And she was like, "Oh, well, you really don't have to worry about it until you're ready to get pregnant. So come back to me when it's time for you to have babies." And of course, it was very much like, I'm 16. I was like, ew, I don't, that's not my life. So we're not doing that right now. But also with that diagnosis, I also had the diagnosis of cervical cancer at the age of 16. So I think that when it comes down to thinking about PCOS, that was like a back burner, especially after being told that I didn't have to worry about it until I tried to have babies. It was like, get out of here. But later on in life, around 22, 21, 22. I didn't have health insurance, and it was very much I was in a lot of pain, and I just remember going into work one morning, and everybody in the office was like, "What's going on with you? Like, you look like death." Is pretty much what they were trying to tell me nicely, right? "You look like death." Apparently, I just looked clammy, like, the color was faded out of my face, and I was in so much pain, and after a couple of hours at work, I was like, "No." Called my mom, and she was like, "Nope, meet you at the ER." Met her at the ER, come to find out my cysts on my ovaries were rupturing. And I was just in, like, dire pain, and I just remember the ER attendee being like coming back in after running a bunch of tests and doing an ultrasound and all the things, coming back in and being like, "Oh, well, we see it in your chart that you have PCOS, and we also see, you have cysts rupturing. This is your life. Like, there's nothing we can do for you. You need to, like, figure this out." They didn't give me any help. They didn't give me any resources. They made me feel like that was it, right?
Mhm.
Like, I just have to deal
Yeah.
with this. I just remember IV, right? It was an IV of liquids and pain medicine, and then I was sent on my way. After that, literally leaving the ER, I was mad. I was so mad, and my remember my mom saying, "What are you about to do?" And she was just like, "No. So what's happening? I see that fire behind your eyes. What are you about to do?" And I was just like, I just can't be this can't be it, right? Like, who goes to the doctor and is told, like, "Bye,"
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
sent on your way? This can't be it, and I can't be the only one dealing with this, and there has to be resources, there has to be more information. I don't understand what PCOS is, and so, of course, went online, couldn't find anything. Found let me back up. It wasn't that I couldn't find anything, it was that a lot of the information was contradicting each other, right? Like, I was
Right.
going out to different websites, different forums, information was just, like, all over the place,
Mhm.
and there was no central place to get information, and then on top of that, there was no support, there were no resources, like, I couldn't find anything. If I said, "Okay, my cysts are rupturing, where do I go?" There was nothing out there.
Mhm.
And then thinking about the other symptoms of PCOS, right? It was just there was just nothing. So at that point, it that was kind of the seed of starting PCOS Awareness Association. It
Mhm.
took more flight a couple of years later, but that was the seed of it.
Yeah. And that's insane. Like, you bring up so many good points because I think when it comes to just womanhood in general, we have
Ugh.
this whole, I call it the womanhood equals pain fallacy of like, we just assume that women are meant to be in pain. And I mean, that dates all the way back to Eve, you know? We just, right? Like, we just say that like women are meant to be in pain, women deserve pain. And also, there's this underlying notion of like, well, women are the quote unquote weaker sex. And so their pain must not
Totally.
really be true pain. And it's like, my pain would cause you to throw yourself off a roof. Like, you
Have
do
you ever
not
seen
even
those
understand.
videos of, like, the guys being set up onto, like, the cramp
The
machines?
simulator? Yes. I want one of those. I want one of those. I want to see how accurate it is. And then I'm going to put it right on my boyfriend and be like, just, yes, new respect for me. Yeah. I love those videos. Those are great. And everyone's always like, I've seen so many of them, and it's always the same reaction. I'm like, they're not all faking it. So, yeah,
No,
we're definitely
right.
not the weaker sex. We'll throw
Oh,
that out there.
absolutely
But
not. Absolutely not.
yeah,
Can you imagine them trying to give birth? Yeah, right.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So and that informs our medical care. It's not just a social issue, it literally informs the entire foundation of medicine. Modern medicine is
Right,
built on a lot of these notions.
right,
And so it's when you go to the doctor and it takes you forever to even get an answer and then finally somebody's like, "Oh, it's PCOS.
right.
Don't worry about it till you're trying to get pregnant." It's like, I have an entire life I need to live before then, though. And why are you assuming that I want to get pregnant ever? And why are you asking me that it's inappropriate to say to a literal child? Like, all of these things that are, you're just like, but I'm in pain right now. And
Today.
also, Yes, and also, like, if I do decide to get pregnant one day, wouldn't I want my body to be in optimal shape before then? Like, why would I wait to just have this addressed later? And then obviously you had cysts that grew and ruptured. And did they even do any imaging originally or only when you
Mhm.
went to the ER?
No, no, yes,
Okay.
when I originally went to the at 16, yes, and
Okay.
then I saw her. Um, I saw my OBGYN because of the cervical cancer. I have to go back like every 3 months,
Mhm.
2 to 3 months. So every 2 to 3 months, I was getting new images. And yes, they call it the pearls or on the ovaries is PCOS.
Mhm.
So yes, those were there. And then it was just crazy to see the imaging from the ER, how half of them like on a ovary, half of them were
Mhm.
gone, and it was just like, "Okay, well, where'd they go?"
Right. Oh
"Oh,
my
no,
gosh.
they're rupturing."
They
Like,
ruptured.
"Wait,
Yeah.
what?
No wonder. I
Wait,
mean, so
rupturing
much
where?"
pain. Right. Yeah, where'd they go? Like, what do we need to do? Yeah,
Right.
and let's dive into that a little bit more because this is something like you said with, looking online and seeing so much conflicting information. This is something I've still when I've tried to understand PCOS, because admittedly, I don't, because I see so much conflicting information.
Right.
How exactly is it diagnosed? What's the criteria?
Right. So there's something called the Rotterdam, criteria for PCOS. They do a couple of tests. One, it's your A1C. Then they'll do ultrasound to see if the cysts are there. So that blows my mind as well because because the name is it's like not supposed to be named this,
Right,
right?
right.
It's not supposed to be named
It's misleading.
polycystic ovarian syndrome, right? Because it's actually a hormonal endocrine disorder. So you're talking like head to toe, literally.
Mhm,
So someone like me at any given time, my cysts could be there or they could not be there. Other people, same thing. And I think that's also where like the confusion and why the so many different narratives, so much information on PCOS is because let's just say Autumn, you have PCOS. Your PCOS is going to look so much different than my PCOS. My PCOS looks different from other people's PCOS, right? I have a friend who she has PCOS clearly looking at her. She marks like all of the things, right? She looks at a man, guess what? Pregnant. Like there's
right.
nothing. Whereas, other people, it's so difficult to become
Mhm,
pregnant. So that is like it's the number one cause of infertility in women. And that is how a lot of women get formally diagnosed with PCOS is like, me and my partner have been trying to have a baby for like years
mhm,
nothing is happening. What's going on? And they go and run tests on him. They go and run tests on her, and now, oh well, you have PCOS. Okay, so what is it? What does
mhm,
it cause? What are like some of the symptoms of PCOS? Right? We've got weight gain, fatigue, unwanted hair, or also known as hirsutism, which then also we have thinning hair on the head which I have a whole theory behind all of this, right?
mhm,
Infertility, acne. It also causes like a lot of people have, which I have on like my thighs, are dark skin patches, right? A lot of people get them on like their neck area. It's like a dark skin patch that's kind of like thicker than your other skin type thing. Lord, the mood changes. I feel so bad for my boyfriend sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, let me just go sit in this corner and just leave him alone. 'Cause man, those are definitely
yep,
real.
mhm,
Depression, anxiety, and I have a whole theory behind that as well, right? Like you are in it's a constant
mhm,
circle, a constant battle. If you're dealing with depression, your anxiety is lifted. If you're dealing with
mhm,
anxiety, you're depressed, right?
yeah.
And what do they say about depression is what is it? It's the you're thinking about the past
Yeah,
and
like you're in the
anxiety
past, in the
you're thinking about the
future.
future. So
Yeah.
so now you're just in a constant battle right
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
The pelvic pain, like my pelvic pain when I was younger was insane. There was days where and we're not even like talking about PMS. We're talking just straight up why do I have this sharp pain in my pelvic area? What is going on? Like, why do I feel like I'm keeled over? I
Mhm.
can't walk straight. Like,
Mhm.
so many
Yeah.
things right there. It also can cause, sleep apnea, sleep problems, which also goes along with the fatigue. Man, my fatigue level, I have never I'm busy. I'm a busy person. A lot of us are busy people, but the way that I could literally sleep probably for a week straight is
Mhm.
nuts.
Mhm.
Sometimes I just want to crawl up into a ball and just sleep for literally a week. Also, some other things that have recently been found, headaches, tooth decay. What are some other ones? It could lead to heart disease, fatty liver. In my case, there are some studies out there that show that it can lead to cervical cancer. So I don't know if my
Mhm.
correlation is there or not, but I've also heard uterine cancer, breast cancer, right? I've heard all of these correlations with PCOS, which also is mind blowing to me as well as to why researchers, when it comes to PCOS, are researching the fertility and the weight gain portions of PCOS, right? Those are the
Mhm.
top areas that we're researching. So why aren't we researching the cause, which also apparently can be the cause of breast cancer and
Mhm.
all the other cancer? That just
Yeah.
blows my mind. Like, let's
Yeah.
get to the bottom of this.
Right. Yeah, and I see so many similarities here between because I have endometriosis and I'm very
Mhm.
active in that community, and when it comes to, like you said, like the misleading name, like we've
Yeah,
reduced it to the female reproductive organs, like polycystic ovarian syndrome and
right,
endometriosis, like makes you think of the endometrium. The truth is neither of these diseases really have anything to do with just, like, the reproductive organ. Like, it's like you
right,
said, full body systemic disease. It affects the entire body. Endometriosis found throughout the entire body. Like, these aren't
right,
just period diseases, but we've reduced them to that. And like you bring up with the research aspect as well, endometriosis is also one of the leading causes of infertility, and a lot of the research is studied in that context of fertility. It's like most of us just
yeah,
wanna live a normal
right.
life.
Like you
We
said
just
before, some of us don't wanna have kids, so
Yeah,
what are we doing?
right, and, like, not saying that we can't like, yes, it's also important to research that, but when all of the research is focused around fertility, it's like, if you guys care so much about us having babies, maybe we need, like, a complete systemic overhaul into how we care for women because we don't care for women, so,
Absolutely, and
yeah.
here, of course, in the US, yeah,
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, it's insane.
we
Yeah,
won't
there are
talk the
so many.
politics part, right?
Right, exactly, yeah,
That's a
and
whole 'nother podcast.
r probably a few, honestly, that could be a few hours worth of conversation.
Right.
But, yeah, it's really, like, disheartening when
It's
we think about how we treat the 50% of the population that is responsible for carrying on the species, like, you think that we would treat them better, especially when we expect so much from them. And I also like how you mentioned how PCOS looks very different from person to person, because I think that's one of the things that people get really stuck in, like, a comparison loop, especially with the
yes,
internet. Internet's great for, like, educating and people sharing their stories and stuff, but at the same time, it's like, "Oh, well, she experiences this and I don't experience that. So it
I
can't
don't
like
have it.
moving on, can't be that. Yeah.
Right,
So
it's
that's
not
like a
me.
right. And I think that a lot of people kind of fall into that spiral of like, well, do I have it? Do I not have it? Back and forth day to day. And I think that's a really important point to make sure people know like it looks very different for everybody.
It does.
Um and like you said, you don't have cysts on your ovaries like all the time. It depends. Another thing I wanted to ask is I've heard that you also need high testosterone levels to be
That
diagnosed.
was my yeah.
Okay.
So when I was telling you the symptoms, so when it comes to like the hair loss on the head, hair growth on the
Mhm.
face, high testosterone, I mean, think of it as male pattern baldness, right?
Mm,
And then you're growing a beard. So yes, higher testosterone is a marker as well.
okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
And also a lot of women with PCOS just even talking about like the tooth decay thing, you think
Mhm.
about it like one of the drugs that they often give women with PCOS is metformin. Metformin is not a PCOS drug. It's a diabetic drug. So PCOS is oftentimes tricking your body into believing that you're diabetic. So we're talking the
Mm,
weight gain, tooth decay, some of the other symptoms as well are similar to diabetes. So yeah, it's
mhm,
tough. It's a tough one, especially since there is not a treatment, one
mhm,
treatment for PCOS because it's so different in everybody. Now we have to sit here and treat each individual symptom by itself. So, yes,
right.
if you're having the weight gain, tooth decay, anything that looks like diabetes, then we're going to give you metformin. We're also going to pack on some birth control pills just for fun.
Mhm.
Just for some added, color in
Yeah,
your in
right.
your pill pack here. I was given when even at 16, they forced my period. So I was given
Okay.
progesterone to bring on the period. I've heard, I was also given spirulactone to try and help with the excess hair. Yeah, there's just so
Mhm,
many different other drugs, other
mhm.
medications that they give you because there is not one specifically for PCOS.
Right, and that makes sense with it being so different with everybody, but it's like we need like you're saying with the research, we need a systemic, like, a way to get to this at the root. So, let's talk about the PCOS Awareness Association, how that came about, and what you guys are doing through the PCOS Awareness Association to,
Yeah.
like, move the needle, you know?
Absolutely. So I founded it in 2012. So it feels so long ago, but so not long ago. Like I say 2012 and I'm just be like, dang, that was a long time ago. And we have, not to toot any horns or anything, but I feel like we've done quite a bit of things in that time, and we're still growing. We're still handling things. But how I started it was completely by chance. I never thought that this would be me today, right? I actually coming out of the ER. So I have my dad has 9 brothers and sisters, my mom has 4 siblings. I come from a big family. Everybody is just very in tune into everybody and they're caring. So I was getting like phone calls from family and friends. Heard you were in the ER. What's going on? Tell me what's happening. What can I do? That type of thing. And so every time I would say, oh, PCOS, they'd be like, what the heck is that? What is that? What are you saying? You're speaking a foreign language.
Mhm.
Megan, tell me what this is. And through my kind of like internet search, I had found out that PCOS, the official color is teal. So I'm wearing my little teal shirt today. Official color is teal. So I had started to make like these handmade teal bracelets. And every time I was telling like a family member about PCOS, I would hand them a teal bracelet and be like, okay, so now that anytime somebody asks you what this teal bracelet is for, you can now tell them what PCOS is about and try and inform people, right? I had a cousin that is, this was at the time that Instagram had like just started, right? And it was so much simpler back then, right?
Yes.
Now it's not all, analytics and all that stuff. Back then, it
Yep.
was literally you wrote in the caption like a hashtag and you just clicked on the hashtag and ta-da!
Yep.
Everything else came up, right?
Yes.
So I had a cousin who actually had asked me, she was like, hey, send me like 20 of those bracelets. Took me like a week to make, right? Here, take these bracelets. I sent them to her. And so this was around the time Instagram started. And then also Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was coming out. And so, Wonder Woman has that famous pose where she's like
Mhm.
this. My cousin literally lined her arms with the teal bracelet, went on Instagram, did the pose, and hashtag PCOS, tagged me, and I think she said this, this fight is for PCOS or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I kid you not, maybe the next day I woke up and I had my DM was like full of women across the world asking for a bracelet and wanting to know more about PCOS because they were told that they had PCOS and they were like, I've never seen, there's nothing out here. What is this? I need to know. Send me a bracelet.
Wow.
I My naive mind, I guess I did not know. We're talking I was like, what? I can't even do the math at this point, but I did not know the cost of postage to send to other countries.
It's insane.
I was literally sent I remember I sent one to I think it was New Zealand, and I think the price of postage was like $42 or something
Jeez.
like that.
For a
I still
bracelet.
mind you, the bracelet was like $5.
Right.
I was like I was like sending them all over the world. I had to have sent out maybe about I would say about 100 bracelets all over the world at least. And I even had like a little party where my friends came over to the house and we were just like making these bracelets.
Oh my god, I love
We were
that.
just making the bracelets and then I was like putting stamp postage on them and sending them off the next day. It was insane. But like was like, okay, so I'm not alone. That was like my first realization that I wasn't alone in this battle, in this journey of PCOS, like and it also was very clear to me that other women were looking for the same thing. And it was like, okay, so what do I do now? What do I do now? So I literally took the funds that I got from the bracelet and I put it towards the 501(c)(3) to create PCOS Awareness Association. And this was around the time of I think there was a government shutdown. It took 16 months to get my 501(c)(3). The
Oh
day
my
that it
god.
came, I hit the floor to my knees and was like, "Oh my gosh,
Wow.
here we are. We've arrived." So since then, it's just been like number one thing. So we work on a pillar of four things: support, information, resources, and the helping to fund the study of PCOS, the
Mm.
research of PCOS. So we have, in that sense, we've partnered with Lujan Labs out of Cornell University. When I was doing like my research on like what studies there were happening on PCOS, again, all that I was finding was fertility and weight loss, right? And I'm like, okay, what for me personally, weight loss, yes, I need, but fertility, I'm not really into that right now. So there has to be something else out there. And I don't remember exactly how I came about Dr. Luchin, but she is absolutely amazing. And her lab is at the time at least, I don't know about today, but at the time it was the only lab studying the cause of
Wow.
PCOS. And so she has been, her and her team are absolutely amazing. They come to all of our events. They give report outs. They actually just I actually owe them a response email because they just emailed talking about they're starting to get because research takes a while, right?
Mm.
You can have people in the study for like 5 years, and then you start getting, like, the data, right?
Right.
So we're at that point where she's getting the data from, like, her very first studies now.
Wow.
So I believe that she's trying to give a report out on that, so I would love to hear her reports and her team's, commentary on
Yeah.
all the things, but they've been really great. We also Back in the day, we used to have an event called Reveal the Teal, which was like we did it as a brunch, we did it as a gala. We've done it in multiple capacities, right? And then one day, I know my team very much, I drive my team crazy because I definitely want that fatigue, right? I have very much sleepless nights.
Mhm.
And especially when my brain is on overdrive, I have sleepless nights and I will dream about something. And I think that's where like even PCOSAA came about, right? I dreamt about it and here it is, right?
Yes.
So I'll literally wake up in the morning and I'll just message the team and I'm like, hey, guess what I want to do? And they're like, boy, here she comes. So I don't know why a couple of years ago, I want to say 2018, I devised that we were going to do a PCOS con. And we would make it a 3-day event. So everybody would show up at this 3-day event. We would have breakout sessions, we would have morning like movement sessions, whether it was dance or yoga or whatever. We would have late night sessions where we would talk about taboo topics of PCOS or just, sex in general. We would do a gala. We would have the reveal the teal gala at the very end. We would do, I had big thoughts in my mind. So
Yeah.
2019 came and we actually did do the event and it was absolutely amazing. We had over 200 people
Wow.
join us in the DC area for that event, and the the closeness and the support that came out of for, like, each other that came out of that event was so, like, touched all the hearts, right?
Mhm.
We have people that are from all over the world that came, and now they're friends even till today, right?
Wow.
I'll see them post on Instagram together that they met up someplace and they're friends, right?
Yeah.
Love it. What we weren't expecting, like, we were expecting to do this every year, what we weren't expecting, and nobody else was COVID.
Right.
COVID hit 2020. I was already in talks with, a hotel to do the same exact event in 2019 I mean, sorry, in 2020 when COVID hit.
Mhm.
It was like we had to call it all off.
Mhm.
We instead went virtual, which actually helped us out that much more because 2 things. Everybody was virtual, right? Everybody
Mhm.
was in their house, so we got even more participation in
Nice.
the virtual event, and then 2, it kinda helped me in my pockets.
Yeah.
Trying to put on a whole big
Yeah.
another big event, I was like, "Oh, no." So PCOSCon is officially virtual every even year, and every odd year, we're in person.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
give us a little, a little reprieve and a
Yeah.
little we get more people online than we do in person, so it's great.
Mhm.
Some
Mhm.
other things that we have done in the past, we were the first PCOS organization to light something teal, right? So you have like, we did, let's see, national monuments. We did a few national monuments, lit up teal, and then we've done walks as well. Um, on the resources side, we have really tried to find like I'm not about reinventing the wheel, right? I'm about, if there's another nonprofit organization out there doing something that we can partner with them in, that
Mhm.
would be great. So, just a little story. Way back when, I was the only one running social media for PCOS AA, and my family says I'm probably too empathetic. So, I was definitely the one that was like, let me answer all DM.
Mhm.
So there was one DM on Facebook that I was literally talking with this girl um a lot that evening, and she was pretty distraught about her PCOS, and she was talking about, unaliving herself and just feeling very hopeless and depressed and all the things. And at one point, she stopped responding to the messages, and I got very scared. So here I am being a detective. I'm like finding her profile, going on her profile, seeing where she lives, seeing what county, trying to find like her closest friends,
Mhm.
all the things, and finally figuring out exactly what county and what city she lived in, calling 911, having them do a wellness check on her.
Wow.
Of course, I don't know what came about that.
Mhm.
I hope and I pray that she's okay,
Mhm.
but it dawned on me at that point that for my own mental health and for everybody else, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a professional in that
Right.
aspect.
Yeah.
So who can we partner with to be to be that
Yeah.
professional? So we actually partnered with Crisis Text Line. So if anybody texts PCOS to 741-741, you get a professional that can help you in that aspect. And so that's a partnership. We also partnership with a company called Needy Meds, and they have low cost sliding scale, no cost clinics across the US. There's like 1,200 of them. In the
Wow.
partnership, we provided all of their clinics like a printout of PCOS, like a brochure, so that they're versed in PCOS and they can better support people with PCOS in their clinics. And then in turn, they also gave us the opportunity to provide our followers a discount, like a medication discount card.
Mhm. That's
I
awesome.
actually used it like once myself just to test it.
Mhm. Yeah.
And at the time I was on birth control pills, and my birth control pills ended up being like 90 cents when normally
Wow.
it was like $15 or something, even
Right.
with my health insurance. So it does work. So if anybody's needing anything like that, that card is on our website. You just download it
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
use it. We have partnered with, our brand sponsor the last 5 years was Milan Laser Hair Removal, and they have clinics all over the United States. So about 2 years ago, I started my laser hair removal journey, and
Mhm.
I literally there's, like, nothing. So
That's awesome.
right, and then I signed up and I was like, "Okay, do the rest of my body."
Right. Just do all of it while we're here.
Yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah,
Take my money.
that's
Um,
amazing.
they do also give a discount for anybody that uses PCOSAA as a code for them.
Mhm,
So we have a ton of other resources on our website that also are helpful and useful.
mhm,
We actually are very close to being let's see, American Psychology Foundation.
mhm.
We are starting a partnership with them and we're super excited about that as
That's
well
cool.
because again, that mental health space
Yeah,
and the way mental health plays on every pretty much every symptom within PCOS, right?
it's so important. Yeah, and of course, I'll make sure that everything is linked for you guys in the show notes as well, your guys' website and everything, so you guys have easy access to that, everybody listening. I also would love to talk about what you guys do for in terms of self-advocacy and kinda what you've learned over the years, because I know it's a really big thing for women when they go to the doctor and, they're just being dismissed or like you were told
Mhm.
or your mom was told when you were young that
She
it was all
crazy.
in your head. Yeah, you're crazy. And we're all being told that, and it's
Yeah.
horrible, and it's really, really damaging for women's health. It can be life-threatening in certain cases, and, I would love to know what you've learned over the years, what PCOSAA is doing,
Yeah,
to help educate on self-advocacy.
absolutely. If anybody's, listening that has seen me before, heard me speak before, number one thing that I will always say, you are your biggest advocate, right? You are your best, biggest advocate. And let's just say you are going to a doctor and I mean, my mom, case in point, right? She went to all
Mhm,
these different doctors for me and being told all these different crazy things, but she never stopped. I can't say like where would I be if it wasn't for her advocacy in me, right? I just think like doctors are it's just like going to a restaurant. If you get crappy service at a restaurant, are you going to give them full tip? Probably not. My tip to them is do better.
right.
So you have all rights in the world to say to a doctor, because you are paying them, your health insurance is paying them, you are going to them, they're not coming to you. So
Mhm,
you have all the rights in the world to say, then a second opinion or a third opinion, or what you're saying is crap. Right. So I implore people to please be your biggest advocate. I also can say that in the next couple of months here, we are revamping our website. We're in the process of revamping our website. And one of the things that I have tasked like the team with is that I want advocacy to be big on the new
mhm.
website. We will be offering a advocacy booklet that you can print and take to your doctor, and it literally I think it's like 20 pages long. It's a pretty big little booklet thing.
It's amazing.
And it literally has questions that you can ask your medical professional. And when we're talking medical professional, we tried to make sure that it was OBGYNs, endocrinologists, even dermatologists, primary cares, naturopaths. Like we tried to make it an inclusive advocacy book so that you could take it to whomever to ask these questions and get better answers and more clarity on your
Mhm,
PCOS, right?
mhm,
Um, Another thing that'll be released in the new website is that we are working on an advocacy letter that you can it's like a plug and play, right? It asks you a couple of questions like where you're located, your name, what PCOS like topic that you want to advocate on. And then based off of those answers, it generates and populates a letter to your local government so that you
Wow.
can print it off and send it off and it has their address and everything on there for you so that you don't have to go digging for it or whatnot. But the letter definitely is a powerful point because what I oftentimes feel is that we're not heard in the local governments, right? We're not even heard in the larger governments, right?
Mhm,
There's literally 0.0% of government funding goes towards PCOS.
mhm.
That's disheartening in itself, especially again, like what we were talking about before, is that everything seems to lead to everything. right?
Mhm.
So you would think that women's health would just be a nice big bucket that
Right.
we could just, like, take from, but no,
Yeah.
it's not. So yeah, those are some things that we're doing here in the near future.
That's amazing, and it's so important because, like you said, like, you would think women's health would be a priority, and it just doesn't make sense that it isn't. I also would love to circle back for a second here
Yeah.
to mental health aspects of things because I did have someone reach out to me on social media asking, a question that I was like, "Oh, I'm actually doing an interview with somebody, with PCOS, and I think that this would be a great question for them." But they were reaching out saying that they have been struggling with PCOS, and it's created, a complicated relationship with food and disordered eating patterns. And I know you
Yeah.
also mentioned in the beginning of the interview how doctors would just kind of try to blame it on your weight, which I know is something
Mhm.
else a lot of women go through where they're like, no, something very real is going on here. And I need you to run some more tests. So, do you have anything to say in that regard? Any advice to give?
Well, one, first of all, you're beautiful. We're all beautiful, right?
Yes.
Beautiful. That's so tough because that is something that yes, we have recently had an uptick in noticing, especially again, we're looking at the social media and we're seeing these beautiful, very thin
Hmm.
women in bikinis and all the things, right? Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I want to be there.
Yeah.
But I think that yes, relationship with food is hard. We do have like in during PCOS con, we do have a couple of nutritionists, dietitians, and whatnot that join us. I would say make sure you join PCOS con. Virtual PCOS con will be this September. Also, we do a monthly virtual like support call. We just started it in the last 2 months. And it's really good because the first one I got on and I was like, we went around the room and it was like, oh, what do you want to? Why are you here? What do you want to be? And I literally said I get to be a woman with PCOS in this room instead of just a founder, right? I get to talk about my PCOS. So
Mm.
get on, come talk, come
Yeah.
talk to us. We want to support you. We do also have a network. It's called Shades of Teal. And I don't ever like really get to say why I named it Shades of Teal, but just in the same sense of yes, the color, official color is
Hmm.
teal, but then also in the same sense of we're all different, right? All of
Hmm.
our PCOS is different. The different shades
Yeah.
of teal.
I love that.
I would implore you to join Shades of Teal, share your story. The only people that are in Shades of Teal are other women with PCOS. Find your support system. Kind of I get a lot of messages from women in other countries and other cultures that having children is a demand, right? It's a must. We have a lot of women who share their stories in that aspect as well. So come share your story.
That's an incredible resource. I love that you guys do that. And again, I'll make sure all that information is included below for everyone listening. This really has been such an incredible, informative interview. I have one last question that I like to
Yeah.
ask all of my guests.
Uh-oh.
If yeah.
It's not doing a TikTok, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Alright.
You can really and you can take it in any direction you would like. I've had a lot of different answers to this, and I always love hearing people's, responses. But if you could rewrite the health class curriculum that every woman deserves, what would your first lesson be?
Ooh. Are we talking that lovely curriculum that we get in, like, sixth grade, 7th grade?
Yeah, like around that time. And honestly, and I've had people say, people when we're talking about more mature topics, it's a little bit older age range. So it can be
Right.
really whatever speaks to you.
Right. I think this also goes back to, like, what I just said to the young lady that wrote into you is, like, you're beautiful, right? I don't think that in any aspect of learning about my woman's health, like, my woman's health, was I
Mhm.
ever told that I was beautiful no matter what, right? And that's damning as well, right?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
know my mom
Right.
told me, my dad told me,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I don't think that, like, throughout any of my doctor's visits or anything that I was ever told that it was definitely made to feel like it was my fault,
Mhm.
right? It was made to feel like it was my fault and that I did something. So
Mhm.
if somebody would have said to me This is not your fault. You're still, you're still you. Let's just try and fix this. Let's see how we can help you. I think that my journey would have been a little easier.
Yeah.
I think my journey, and I think a lot of other women's journeys would be a lot easier, right?
Yeah.
Just again, going back to the young lady who reached out to you, if she was told that this is not her fault, then would she have troubles with food?
hmm
I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an incredible message that I think a lot of women need to hear because we are going back to the beginning of the interview, like I was saying, it goes back to Eve. We're blamed for everything. Women are blamed for the damning of humankind. Like, of course, we're blaming ourselves for shit. Like, we are ingrained with it. And the only way to really effectively fight back against these systems is when we first look inward and really validate our own experiences, unlearn that conditioning. It's not our fault. We are beautiful no matter what. And like you're saying with social media and all of that as well, constantly comparing ourselves to everybody that's like stick thin and tall and leggy and in pornography there's a lot of concerns there as well with how
Oh
we
my
compare
goodness.
ourselves. So like just
Stink.
right, yeah, so just having that, and like you said, like, yeah, you might hear it from your family, um sometimes, maybe not, but hearing it in a
Yeah,
more like in a medical environment or in school would be a very
something.
different, yeah, it would be a different like perspective, I guess, or a different way to kind of ingrain it into young girls of like, it's not your fault and you are beautiful no matter what. And, there are a lot of problems with the systems, but don't stop advocating for yourself. Like you said,
Right.
you're your biggest
I
advocate. So,
I feel like having that message would open up the self-advocacy, right?
yes.
Having that message would allow me to say, "I'm not feeling well. Something is
hmm
wrong." Because
hmm
now I'm believing that it's not my fault.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, it's this confidence. There's a certain level of confidence that's required for self advocacy. You really
Yeah,
do have to validate your own experience first, which is terrible. Like, we shouldn't be so socialized to be doubting ourselves all the time.
right.
Um,
I think that, like, even what you're saying, and of course, we don't know, the ins and outs of the story, but I often tell people, think about the bearded lady, right? Like she had PCOS, like grew a whole beard, but she
yeah.
had PCOS and did she capitalize on it? She literally went out and was like, look at me.
Oh, make some money.
Oh, like some money. Like, right. Like the self-love that took to do that and come
Yeah.
out and say, like, there's a gal in UK that grows a full beard and she literally she's like, I don't care. Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
what?
Right, right. It's all fake anyway, like, these are all just standards that we've created based
Yes.
on, like,
Wait,
social
wait, wait.
constructs.
We?
Not we.
Not
Them.
we. We
Them.
understand the males.
Yes.
The males have
Patriarchy.
created for us.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, I didn't know that, though, about that she grows it out. That's amazing. I love
Yeah,
that, and I bet that so many women are inspired by that as well.
right.
This has been such an amazing interview. I will make sure that all of like, everything that we've talked about is linked in the show notes and your website and everything. Is there anywhere else that people can find you?
Ooh, we're on all I made the joke about TikTok because the team came to me late last year and they were like, "We need a TikTok," and I was like, "I'm not getting on a TikTok, like, that's on y'all."
Yeah.
So, we're on all social media everywhere from, Instagram, Facebook,
Mm,
Pinterest, Twitter, or
awesome.
X, whatever you're calling it today, LinkedIn, TikTok, Snapchat, we're on all of it. So, please
Awesome.
just follow us for
Amazing.
more information about all the things.
Yes, and that will be linked for everybody below. Thank you so much for being here, Megan. This was amazing. And thank you guys for listening. I hope that you learned a whole bunch. Make sure you send this to your PCOS bestie. I feel like we all have at least one. So
Oh, yeah, you do.
send it along. Yes. Thank you guys so much. And class dismissed.
Thank you.